Hi there. I would like to introduce a concept called the Ulilarity, named for Music Tribe CEO Uli Behringer. This is part 3 of a somewhat accidental trilogy of videos I've made on Behringer's practice of cloning other people's circuits. Here I'm just talking about Behringer's cloning practices, and I'm not going to address other controversies. To be clear, I don't really have any ethical qualms with most of Behringer's clones or the cloning efforts of other manufacturers. If you want something like a Roland TB303 with original analog electronic design, well, you're not going to get that from Roland. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't look like you can currently buy clones direct from Bill Finnegan. In his video currently titled Moog Retailers and Clones, Ben Jordan was highly critical of Behringer's clone of the Mini Moog Model D. But I never really saw these as competing products. These are targeted towards very different markets. You're either the sort of person that can imagine, oh yeah, sure, I'll spend $5,000 on a monosynth, no problem, or you're not. Someone like Geddy Lee is not going to show up on stage with a Behringer Model D. Similarly, the Behringer UBXA is targeting a fundamentally different market than the Oberheim OBX8. And there's a lot of engineering work involved in turning something like this into something like this. This is an impressive feat of engineering for manufacturability. But there are times where I feel like Behringer goes too far. The Behringer Swing is essentially a clone of the Arteria KeyStep at half the price. Now, I saw a theory on Reddit that I want to make clear isn't true. I saw someone suspect that Arteria is having a third party make the KeyStep, and Behringer has started sourcing the Swing from them. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever software is running in the microcontroller, Arteria has the copyright on that. And if Behringer copied that, then Arteria could quite thoroughly sue them. So I found a blog that did a teardown of the KeyStep, and there's pictures of some parts of the PCB. I would be interested to know if Behringer cloned the PCB in addition to the overall behavior of the design, or maybe if they didn't clone the PCB, maybe they chose the same microcontroller. If anyone's done a teardown of the Behringer Swing and can answer those questions, please leave a comment below because I'm curious. The Behringer Abacus is a clone of the Make Noise Maths at about a third of the price. Now, I don't know for sure that the circuit in the Abacus is exactly the same as the circuit in the Maths, but I would strongly suspect that it is because there's really no copyright protection on circuits, and it would be the easiest way for Behringer to pull this off. Now, the PCB design is going to be different because that is copyrightable. I find this particularly egregious given that Make Noise is a much smaller company than Behringer, or even Arteria for that matter. This brings us to my concern about the Ulilarity, an end state of music hardware production where companies like Make Noise no longer feel it's worth their time and effort to generate new products because a company like Behringer with tremendous economies of scale will just come in, make a clone, and then sell it at a much lower price. Again, if Behringer wants to make clones of ARP 2500 circuits in a Eurorack format, that's totally cool with me. But this is not cool. And the unfair advantage a company like Music Tribe has over a company like Make Noise extends beyond the economies of scale. There's also issues related to the so-called super partnerships and co-op financing that Ben Jordan explores further in his video titled Moog Retailers and Clones, which I highly suggest you check out. Now, I realize to some extent Behringer is just responding to market forces. People claim they want original instruments, but Behringer probably noticed that something like the DeepMind 12, an interesting original instrument, doesn't sell as well as their clones. And whose fault is that? Many manufacturers of guitar pedals will complain long and loud about the fact that people claim to want original designs, but people don't buy the original designs as much as they buy those clones. But I wish Behringer wouldn't so aggressively undercut existing products being sold. If Behringer is looking for something to clone, how about the Nova Chord? Or how about the Behringer-owned Martineau? As an aside, I kind of wonder why Moog didn't release their own version of like a Behringer Model D, a cost-reduced version of the $5,000 one. The Mini Moog is something around the complexity of something like the Mother 32, and that's selling for $600. And if Mike Adams had moved some production overseas to bring that price down, I don't think anyone who's serious could have seriously faulted him. Many companies produce similar products at different price points. Fender has its Squire line. You can pay $3,000 for the St. Vincent Signature Music Man guitar, or you can pay $830 for the Sterling version. Paul Reed Smith offers the Blue Sky at two radically different price points. Moog already offers some inexpensive soft synths, so I think it would have been natural for them to have offered a lower price version of the Mini Moog.